I'm Justin Brady. If you've been downtown Des Moines going to a Civic Center show, maybe been to Coles Commons, you've probably saw the little neon sign, the little sign on that corner of that historic building. And you probably saw that there's an oyster bar there. Maybe you haven't stepped foot in there. What is that place? It's Splash Seafood. And there is a really, really cool story behind it. And I guess probably the best idea would be to have the owner tell that story himself, who is Bruce Gerleman, and he joins us today, the founder and owner of Splash Seafood. Bruce, thanks for coming on the show.
Great to be here, Justin.
We've had some conversations before, so I appreciate you coming back to tell this story, because I know there is a story here. Let's start. It was 1998 is when Splash was founded, but there's a story behind why you decided to start it. What's that story?
Well, my favorite seafood restaurant went out of business. It was 8th Street Seafood Bar and Grill out in West Des Moines, and they featured bacon-wrapped barbecued shrimp. And that was my favorite. I would go there almost every Friday night for bacon-wrapped barbecued shrimp. And when they went out of business, I said, what this city needs is a fine dining, fresh seafood restaurant. And so, at the time, I spent a lot of time in the Florida Keys because I do deep sea fishing. I go out in the Florida flats and fish. And so I brought back some of those recipes from the Florida Keys, and we opened Splash on September 11th of 1998.
Wow, that's been a while.
Yeah, that was... we are now celebrating our 27th birthday, and we'll have a big birthday celebration on September 11th again coming up. So, it was there in the historic Homestead building, which is also celebrating its 133rd birthday. It was built in 1892, but so it's a very unique setting in that it's a 3-story, where you're in the atrium, and it's a 3-story restaurant with... the different levels, it provides just a really dramatic experience. And so what I tried to do there with Splash was create kind of an underworld, undersea landscape, if you will, or seascape, if you will. So you'll see a large shark, which is a historical shark. We might even want to get into that a little bit. There's a large shark there, a large bluefin marlin, there's a sailfish, and then you see the largest saltwater aquarium display in a 20-state area, Justin. Now, I get to pick the states. North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana. Okay, you get the gist.
I got it.
We have 12 major tanks there, including a huge tank with lobster and another tank full of piranhas, if you will.
Really?
Yeah, the piranha room.
So don't jump in there.
No, you don't want to. You don't even want to stick your finger in there, Justin.
I've heard rumors that they're like not that bad, but I do like the imagery of piranhas being crazy. You threw out a lot there. I don't actually know where to start, but let's start with the you have a original, like the art, shark art. What is this?
Well, I commissioned a local artist, Celine Nong. She's famous here locally and actually statewide. She painted these murals throughout the entire restaurant, featuring iconic shrimp, crab, lobster, and if you see the restaurant today, it's still there. It actually I have it insured for over $500,000 because it is original art and it's totally unique. So you have that original art, and then you have these large saltwater aquariums. And Justin, we actually make our own saltwater. We have a huge distillation plant there. Because you can't go out and buy salt water. You've got to make it. So we make our own salt water for those tanks. So we have tropical fish, we have moray eels, and we have starfish. It's a beautiful, we have living coral tanks. So it's kind of an undersea world there at Splash. And then the best part of it is we fly our fish in every day, jet fresh, from Hawaii and Boston and Seattle and Alaska. So there you go.
How do you make salt water?
It's way beyond my pay grade. There's a scientist that does
really?
that for me.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, we have a scientist there that does it. It's he's there, and he's been making salt water for the last 27 years, and it's a story that really doesn't get told very often.
Well, how do you? So okay. This is I didn't know that was coming. So there obviously is some very special balance, and you have to have the right salt water because in these aquariums you have these fish that require salt water, and so this is the point, right? Like if you want those fish in the restaurant in those 12 tanks, you have to make your own special salt water.
Exactly, and if you want starfish to spawn and grow, if you want coral to spawn and grow, you've got to have the pH balance, and it's a whole ecosystem there. Underwater.
Yeah. Do you ever fish out of the tanks yourself?
No. No.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
You said this art was insured for what? I want to go back to that.
$500,000. You know, on an insurance writer, you have to specify if you have any special valuable.
Right.
And all the walls are original art. So the walls are, in fact, insured.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're really, and for those who haven't been there, kind of walk people through it because the Homestead building's fascinating, especially Splash, because I think we're all used to like chain restaurants and how it's a concrete slab. It's all the same level. There are some divider walls and that's pretty much it. But Splash is, when you say immersive, it's not a joke. It's really a bizarre, like immersive space. There are all these different levels and you kind of feel surrounded by everything.
I don't know if I would say bizarre. I would say eclectic would be more.
I mean, it's different.
Yeah, it's totally different. We've had people from all over the country stop in and just say what an incredible place it is. It's visually entertaining.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good way to say it because I like how you go down into the space, almost like you're going underwater.
Yeah, well, and if you see the bubbles, there's bubbles hanging there in the atrium.
Oh, that's right.
And you see the shark chasing the blue marlin, and you see the blue marlin diving down to the coral to eat the little fish. So it's all a story. And actually, the deep purple blue wall there is the same color as the ocean, 23 miles off of Isla Mirada, Florida, which is where I fish a lot. That's where the Gulf Stream meets the Atlantic Ocean, and so you can see the Gulf Stream out there. So it's that same color.
Did you take like a paint chip or Pantone book out to the ocean and like dip it in the water or something?
I've been out there enough to know when I see the Gulf Stream out there, and the Gulf Stream, you know, it carries everything, all the nutrients up from the warm waters of the south, and the fish. It's kind of like a fish highway out there.
Fish highway,
where the fish that are migrating from down in South America and South Africa, they swim on that ocean highway, the Gulf Stream.
You mentioned something earlier because you're the Jethro's guy. We're not going to get into that today, but I know that Iowans are pretty used to the fact that we have pork is readily accessible here. It's like very easy. It's very close. Seafood, the last I checked, like, you know, saltwater seafood's not exactly accessible. You mentioned that you're flying this in. I think, did you say Hawaii? You're flying this in?
We have, most of our fish comes from Hawaii, and we have an arrangement with Honolulu Fish Company. They have when their captains go out in the morning, they get back to the dock around 3 o'clock. They have a Federal Express box sitting there on their dock. And as they fillet the fish, they put a layer of fish fillets in. They put a layer of ice, a layer of fish, a layer of ice. Anyway, the most the airlines will let us bring is 75 pounds. And so 38 pounds of ice and 37 pounds of fish. You can't use dry ice because dry ice is a no-no on airplanes.
What?
So these boxes come in every morning at 10 o'clock. And we open them up, and there's a big loin of tuna there. There's a big loin of sea bass. There's a big loin of mackerel or whatever fish we've ordered that day. And then we hand cut those loins. And when I opened Splash, I really wanted it to be almost like a Midwestern steakhouse for fish. So at Splash, you get a 6-ounce portion of fish, whether it be swordfish, Chilean sea bass, salmon, and then you also get a large starch portion, and then you get a vegetable portion all on your plate. So it's not only is it It's hearty seafood.
That's a way to say it.
Uh-huh.
How often is it flown in then?
Every morning.
Every morning?
Oh, every morning, yes. And then the other part of that is we also bring in our lobsters every morning. We've got a big tank. We've probably got 40 lobsters in there right now, ranging anywhere from 2.5 all the way up to 5 pounds. If you really want to, if you're hungry that day and you want a big lobster, come to Splash. And then we bring in oysters. You know, we have our
Love
Splash,
oysters.
yeah, the Splash Oyster Bar. And the thing about Splash oysters, oysters they live in the little bays and inlets, and they exist there on the bottom, and they just sift through all the plankton and all the minerals that are in the water. So that's how they taste. Some of them taste a little minerally, or they taste. They say maybe it's blueberry oysters. Maybe there's blueberries on the side of the hill, so it'll taste like a blueberry oyster. But I only serve at Splash the oysters from the cold, clear, crisp waters of the Pacific Northwest and New England. So oysters living in water that's 34, 35 degrees, that it's not polluted. Now, the oysters that you get down south, the Apalachicolas, they grow up and live in these bays and inlets, and the water in some instances 90 degrees, and you know the pollution that comes with all of that and the bacteria that grows. So we do not serve any of those oysters at Splash.
Interesting. So there is a difference in, and I'm not like, I don't know anything about this, but there's a difference in temperature because essentially it's refrigeration. You're looking for nature's refrigerators so,
Yes.
so that bacteria is not growing.
Yeah.
So are oysters, because I always see on a menu, you actually brought menus in here. I actually see on the menu a bunch of different oysters, and it kind of looks like wine to me because I don't know the difference, and I don't understand. Some places put tasting notes, but is there a general guide, a general way that the layman like me can understand what we're seeing on an oyster menu?
Well, the West Coast oysters are typically smaller and they're more briny. That's a starting point.
Yeah.
But back to my point, whatever the terrarium is, the grounds surrounding that bay or that inlet, that oyster is going to take on whatever mineral, it's going to take on the taste of whatever minerals wash down into that bay. So like I said, if it's a strawberry fields, it'll taste a little bit fruity. And if it's a copper, it'll taste a little metallic. But as a general rule, we serve the West Coast and the East Coast oysters, but only from the cold waters.
Yeah, that's fascinating. You mentioned quite a few things there. It was a little overwhelming. Because I want to get into wine, because it sounds like oyster tasting is almost like wine in a way, because there are so many different variables. And you mentioned that the oysters are going to pick up flavors off the cliffs or off the hills that are nearby.
Yes.
You mentioned blueberry taste, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of like wine tasting, right? It's very, very similar. Do you have that many variables?
You absolutely do.
Yeah, that's wild.
And it's very subtle, just the same way that wine has all these different subtle aromas and flavors and taste. The other thing that we do at Splash, and we're really proud of, when we brought in the oysters, I went out and researched the menu or the recipes for oysters Rockefeller. So we have, for those people that don't really want to eat or have never had oysters, this oysters Rockefeller menu, John D. Rockefeller back in 1904 was the richest man in the world. And he said, I want to taste oysters that are befitting of my title. So his chef made up these oysters Rockefeller. And we have that original recipe at Splash.
And that's like a heated recipe, right?
Yeah, it's a broiled oyster, and then we also have broiled scampi oysters, which are fabulous too. So you don't have to eat a raw oyster at Splash. And then we actually have oysters with caviar, which those are special too.
Because oysters with, how can oysters be better as oysters with caviar?
There you go.
Duh.
And I should mention, since we mentioned caviar, we do serve a variety of caviars. And Now, people probably remember years back, beluga was the rage. Beluga caviar. Well, that came from Russia, and
Really?
that's no longer allowed in the United States.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, it's banned along with a
Really?
lot of other Russian vodkas, et cetera, et cetera. But so we serve caviar from the California sturgeon,
Uh-huh.
and then the American white sturgeon, and so it's this it actually you can't really tell any difference. It's around $200 an ounce for caviar.
Wow.
But it makes a wonderful dressing on a oyster.
Yeah. So was the beluga caviar, was that pretty much just marketing and branding?
No, it's actually the sturgeon came from the Caspian Sea, which is a very salty, briny sea, and
Oh, okay.
that made the caviar and the taste of the caviar even saltier and brinier.
Oh, wild. We were talking about wine earlier, and maybe that's well, I want to ask about wine too, because and you have all these very subtle tasting notes, like for food nerds that really love, because my wife and I enjoy this a lot. We love really hunting for flavors. We love the subtlety. We love craft, like when a chef really is at the top of their game. And we see like all these subtle flavors you guys you're talking about. Does that apply to the wine list too?
Well, very proud of our wine list. We have almost $300,000 worth of wine in our cellar, and we've
Is
been
that insured too, I hope?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Armed guard or something?
Yes.
Goodness.
But we have been on the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence every year since 2001. So what is that? 26 years now in a row. So our cellar is very complete. We're strong with California wines, and we're very strong with Italian and French too. So we're very proud of our wine cellar, and it pairs so well with the seafood, and it makes, and I should say it pairs so well with our prime steaks too, because we only serve prime ribeye and prime New York strips and prime fillets. So and that's all prime Iowa beef. So you can get an amazing steak at Splash too.
Before I let you go,
Mm-hmm.
Distinguished Restaurant of North America, you have that title as well.
Very proud of that. Actually, we're the only restaurant in the state that has both the Wine Spectator Award of Excellence and the Distinguished Restaurants of North America Award.
Oh, wow.
And we've enjoyed that now for over it's 11 or 12 years. It's a very prestigious organization. The French Laundry and Napa Valley comes to mind is also a member.
Really? Oh, wow.
And so a lot of historic. There are somewhere around 250 members of this Distinguished Restaurants in North America. And actually, I was on the board there for a while, the board of directors of Verona. So very proud of that award and that honor too. And it just speaks to the quality of what we do. And, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our amazing staff. I have one person that's been there, Scott Balder, for 25 years. I've got our bartender, Rex Schultz, who's a master of spirits and also a PhD. He's been there for 18 years behind the bar. I have a lot of people that have been there 15, 16, 17 years. So our Splash staff is amazing too. Very proud of them.
Is he a PhD in mixology or a PhD?
No, he's a PhD in philosophy.
The conversations at your bar have got to be crazy.
He is full of quips.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, if you ever want to sit down and have fun, come in and order a glass of wine or order a cocktail and visit with our PhD and he's a master of spirits too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Last question, and I don't even know what this is, but I heard a rumor that you had another Best Seafood in Iowa award. Do you know anything about that?
Someone just sent me an email about that, and apparently some publication, don't know what yet, we're investigating, has named Splash the #1 seafood restaurant in Iowa, and makes me happy, makes me proud, and I will figure out who did that, and I'll let you know.
So that's like setting up for next time. We'll figure that out. We'll find the details. Bruce Gerleman, the founder and owner of Splash Seafood in Des Moines. What's the website so people can reach out and learn more about you and the restaurant?
Well, www.splash-seafood.com.
Perfect. Bruce, thanks so much for coming back on the show.
Justin, thanks so much for having me, and happy to be here.